Hello guys, today I'm going to start one new application that's Blender, which is an open source software. So from now onwards I'll be putting tutorials on Autodesk 3ds Max also Blender. So let me explain you something about Blender. So how to download Blender is like you can just go into Google Chrome and it is an open source application. So you can just write blender.org. You can just go into blender.org and you can just download this Blender. It's free of cost, so you can utilize it also for commercial purposes, as Blender can do a lot of things like same as like modeling, texturing, lighting, animation, rigging, skinning. All this stuff can be done in Blender. So you can just download this application from this. That's your blender.org. It's a open source application and you can use. It's a free to use. So let's start with the application. It's very simple. So today I will be showing you basics of the application. So let's start with the Blender. So I have already installed this application. Let's start up. So this is a user interface for Blender over here. So right now I want to use a shortcut as a Blender only. I'll explain you how it works. Your theme, what kind of theme you want. You want a lighter theme, you want a darker theme. So you can set your theme accordingly. So let's click OK. So this is your viewport, you can say, as you have seen in your 3ds Max. This is your viewport, this is your grid, this is your menu bar. Also you have some kind of parameters like modeling, sculpting, UV editing. All these parameters will be available over here. Your animation, your shading. So there are a lot of things which you can do over here. You also have some kind of compositing over here. You can do a bit of compositing also. You have your layer panel over here. This is your layer panel. You can on and off the layers, whatever objects you want. This is your timeline. So you can play with the timeline. Timeline is for the animation, and this is your property window. So whatever stuff you're going to create, you can easily create it over here. So property window will help you out definitely for your length and width and whatever stuff you require it over here, that can be carried out. So this is also a transform window over here for the scaling purpose. So this can be done over here. So before I start over here, let me explain you your user interface. So if you press middle mouse button, if you just press middle mouse button, you can rotate the view. So by pressing middle mouse button, you can rotate the view. If you scroll it, you can zoom in and zoom out the view, or you can say a viewport. So right now I am in the perspective view. You can see the perspective view over here. If you press shift and press middle mouse button together, you can pan the view. So panning the view is like as you do in your any other 3D application, you can easily pan this view. If you press middle mouse button, you can rotate the view, and if you scroll, you can zoom in and zoom out. How you can go with the other views, like if you press so if you press Control 1, that's your back view, that's your back orthographic. Control 2, your left. Control 3 is your left orthographic. So you can change these views. So if you want to change it over here, you have one more option. You can just press Alt and middle mouse button and drag to, you can change the view. That's your back view, that's your bottom view, that's your right view, that's your front view, that's your top view. And again you want to go back, don't press Alt and just drag it, rotate it, just middle mouse button and press and rotate it. you can see you can come back to the your perspective view. Now the other thing is like you have manipulators over here, as you have seen in the application. Like if you don't want this, you can just delete it by pressing X. Press X and delete it. Just click OK. If you want to take any of the objects right from the start over here, you can just go into this, add mesh, and you can just take a plane over here. So after taking a plane over here, you can just pan it, and you have the properties over here for the scaling of this element over here. You can just scale it, or you have one more stuff over here, that's your parameter over here. We can say your move, that's your G, rotate, that's the R, and that's the scale, that is S. So G, R, and S, that's your G is for move, R is for rotate, and S is for scale. So if you just click on this move option, and you can move it. So if you press Alt, and you can come back to the top view, and you can move it. So whatever you want, wherever you want to move, you can easily move this. Let's come back to the perspective. So if you press R, that's your rotate. So whatever angle you want to rotate it, you can easily rotate it. And that's the last option, that's a scale over here. You can easily scale it. So you can scale it. So there is one more stuff over here. If you press S and if you scale it, you can see you can scale it from all the directions. So press S, and if you scale it, you can scale it from all the directions, or you can scale it from only from one of the directions where you want. So this is the stuff which you do over here right now. So we have one more thing over here, is like this is your wireframe view. If you want to keep it on a wireframe, viewport shading, that's your wireframe. That's your normal display mode. This is your shade material window preview, and this is with the light. So if you have a lights in the setup, that's your display render preview. So right now I don't have a texture over here. I haven't applied the texture, so it won't be visible over here. Right now we'll keep it as a normal view over here. So now for example, if we are not going to any on the edit mode right from this. So you have this option over here, that's a cursor. So if you keep your cursor over here, or if you keep your cursor over here, and if you go into this add mesh, and if you go into the UV sphere, you can see that your UV sphere will be created over there. So wherever you want to place it, you can easily place it, and you can move over this stuff. So you can zoom it. So whatever things you want to create, you can easily do it over here. So we'll be just going through some basic stuff and the user interface stuff for this tutorial. Now you can just go back again. If you want to go into the top view, you can go back to the top view. Again, you can rotate it to the front view, Alt, left view, and again come back. So you can just select it. You can just add the mesh. So whatever meshes you want, you can just add it. You can easily add the mesh over here. So whatever mesh you want to create, you can easily create it over here. So now if you want to go into some kind of a edit mode over here, you can go to the edit mode. It's very simple over here. So we have some stuff over here like this. So first let's scale this. Let me scale in this way. Alright. So if you go into this object and you have an edit mode. So if you go into the edit mode, you will see that three options you get, that is vertex select, one is edge, and one is face. So if you go into the vertices, and if you click on this, so you can easily move this, move the vertices, you can move this, you can move this. If you go into the edge, you can select the edge. So edge is a connection of two vertices, so you can move the edge. And last is your polygon, that's your face. So face will help you out. So if you want to select the face and you want to just scale it, you can easily scale those faces also. So if you press S and you want to scale this face, that can be created. So you can just scale the face on whatever axis you've got. So I'm just giving you a basic example of this. So this are all the things which you can utilize it over here. Again, go back over here. Again, you want to come back of that mode, you can just click on this object mode. can go back to the object mode over here. So how you can duplicate it is like very simple. If you press Shift and D, you can just duplicate the object. So Shift and D will definitely help you to duplicate the elements. So you can easily duplicate these elements over here. You can push it on the grid or something, wherever you want. And if you have this object, two different objects, if you press Control J will definitely join those two objects. So if you want to join it, you can just press Control J over here. So you can, so if you press H, you can hide and unhide those objects. So H is for your hide, and you can just unhide it by pressing Alt and H. So H is for hide, Alt and H is for unhide. So we'll continue the rest of the part in the next tutorial. So thanks for watching this tutorial.